So what this video is about today, firstly, I'm in Bali, right? I'm in Bali for the foreseeable future and it's absolutely baking hot. It's baking hot. I'm in Canggu. It's beautiful. I'm out here in the shirt. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sexy. Let's go. Now this video is about how you can tell if she feels like she's settling for you and if she's not that interested. Here are some ways that you can tell. Number one, does she feel unenthusiastic about your future together? So a woman who's really into you will be passionate and happy and excited about the concept of thinking about spending more time with you, as in the future weeks, months, and even years together, whether or not that means having children or being married or what have you. If she seems very blasé about it, she seems like she doesn't really care. If it seems like honestly like you care more about your future with her than she cares about you, that's probably a very bad sign, and it probably does imply that she's not that enthused about you and sees herself as settling. Another one is if she frequently mentions what you're lacking. Now here is the thing, when a woman is really into a man, there's usually this kind of subtle spell that goes on in their minds in which the man kind of appears to be perfect, like they forget his flaws. So I'm sure you've heard of friends or seen this happen where like a woman has been with a guy who maybe treated her badly and her friends hated him, but she was so wrapped up in the man's spell that she did not see all of the flaws that the friends were constantly speaking about. When a woman is really into a man, she tends to not see his flaws. However, when she's not into a man, his flaws become magnified. So if she is frequently telling you about flaws that you have or places that you lack, the odds are she doesn't think you're that amazing. And if she doesn't think you're that amazing but is still with you, then she most likely sees herself as settling for you because she can't do any better or a better option has not come along. Another one is emotional investments. Does she seem like she is emotionally invested in your relationship? Do you feel like she's there and that she's with you, or does it feel like she's going through the motions? If it feels like she is just going through the motions and she's physically there but she is emotionally not, that's a very bad sign. But again, how can you tell if she's emotionally invested? Well, it's an energy. Does she smile a lot? Does she become feminine in your presence? This is a big one. Does she become feminine in your presence? When she is around you, does she get out of her logical, problem-solving, masculine-oriented brain that she uses day by day? And does she allow you to kind of take the lead? Does she become softer? Does she become more nurturing? Does she become more receptive? If she is very analytical, forward thinking. I mean, look, there are many women who are very analytical and forward thinking, so I'm not gonna try and stomp my foot down and say that if a woman is like that, then she's not interested. But it is a sign. If she becomes more warm, compassionate, soft, nurturing, giving, emotionally receptive, if she becomes more soft and gooey in your presence, that's a good sign. If she's not soft and gooey in your presence, that is a bad sign. Does she prioritize other relationships over yours? Now the thing is this, if you are in a relationship with this woman, then supposedly you are the most important people in each other's lives. That is the deal. That's how it works, right? But if she prioritizes her other relationships over her relationship with you, then that means that she doesn't see you as a priority. And if she's not seeing you as a priority, then she presumably sees these other people as being more important than you, which then kind of implies that she feels like she's settling for you because a man in her life is supposed to be the most important person in her life. So if she genuinely cares more about seeing her friends than you, that's not a good sign at all. If she genuinely, consistently cares more about seeing her family than you, that's a bad thing. Now, the thing is this, should she absolutely love her family and want to spend as much time with them as possible? Yes, she should. Of course she should. However, you are meant to be way the freak up there, right? You're her man. So if you, over a consistent period of time, realize that everybody else or a significant percentage of other people in her life have more priority than you, that is bad. So if you say to her, let's say hey, let's go away for a weekend, yet that is also the weekend that her friends have asked her to go away, If you're noticing that actually she's preferring to go away with her friends and go away with you, she doesn't think you're that important. She doesn't really value the time that she spends with you. But of course, if she's still with you, then she's obviously settling, because why the hell are you with someone who you don't think is that important and you don't value their time or don't value the time you spend with them? So again, if she is not really that concerned about seeing you and seems to care more about spending time with other people, bad sign. Does she rarely compliment you? Or does she rarely express gratitude? Because a woman who feels like she's settling for you basically feels like you don't give her much. So she's settling, right? It's just about good enough. So there's an ideal of what she could have in a relationship, right? In terms of how funny a man could be, how good looking he could be, how witty and intelligent he could be, the lifestyle he could provide, whatever, right? There's an ideal. There's something she wants, how good the sex could be, whatever. But if you're not giving it to her, right, whatever that is, then from her perspective, there isn't really much to be excited about, right? It's just like, huh. So if you find that she never expresses gratitude, ever, she probably thinks that she's settling. Now look, it's totally possible that you might give her a good reason to not express gratitude. Right? That's totally possible, because I don't know who you are and I don't know your situation. But the simple fact is, if she never seems to express gratitude, or she does it very rarely, she doesn't feel like she has much to be grateful for. If she doesn't feel like she has much to be grateful for, but she's still with you, then she's probably settling. She probably feels like she's comfortable, or she can't get any better, or something like this. So that's another sign that's quite bad. Does she often joke about settling? Does she often like crack little jokes about how she settled for you? Because while those jokes are meant to be jokes, I mean, there's a kernel of truth behind every joke. So if she's actually making that joke about how she has settled, well, that is a bad sign that she actually truly feels that way but doesn't quite know how to say it. Here's a big one. Is she always looking for external validation? For instance, you will find that a woman who is really happy in her relationship will post pictures with her man on social media, on her story, in her feed, whatever. Here is my man, here we are, we're at the shops, we're in Bali, we're at the beach, this sort of thing. If she is not posting you on her social media, that's quite bad. But here's another one that's even worse. If, as well as not posting you, and there are women who just don't like to reveal that side of themselves, there are. But here's a big one. If she is not posting you on her social media, but she's acting like she's single, so she's posting pretty pictures of herself on her own or out with her friends, that is bad. And you know why that's bad? Because if we're just going to keep it a buck, right? Let's assume we've got an average woman with like 500 followers on Instagram. If she posts a pretty picture of herself in a dress, she knows that there's going to be at least 10 men who are going to see that and send her some sort of comment with some sort of validation for that. Right? Now, if she is choosing to go for that validation rather than to seek it from you, right, that's bad, because she doesn't feel like validation, she doesn't feel like you're validating enough. You aren't good enough. And what actually is good enough is the external validation from other people. But if the external validation from other people is more of what she wants, then that would imply that she's settling for you, because she's still with you, even though being praised by you or with you, either having you praise her and say that she's beautiful and amazing, or either having you praise her and say she's amazing isn't good enough, and having other people like validate her looks, her beauty, whatever, that's actually what she wants. Does she have a history of settling in relationships? Is this something that she does? Does she have a pattern of being in relationships way past their sell-by date, even after she loses interest in people? Because if she does have a pattern of doing that, it's entirely possible that she could be doing that with you. So what's her past relationship history like? When she was with men in the past, did she tend to stay with them much longer than she should have been? Even after, not longer than she should have been in terms of, oh, she should have realized that man was a loser. But after she quote unquote realized that man was a loser, does she tend to stay with these men anyway, even though she really and truly should have left because she'd actually emotionally checked out? If that's something she tends to do, then that is a bad sign. Anyway, I hope this video has given you a lot to chew on. I hope it has given you a lot to chew on. So I'd like you to sit down and think about everything that's been said, right? Think about everything that's been said and ask yourself how much of that is true. Fundamentally, right, there's no kind of one size fits all answer. So I can't say if you answer yes to 9 out of those or 8 out of those or 7 or 6 or whatever, then that means she definitely is settling for you. It's a case by case basis and you're gonna have to have a think. But fundamentally, none of the items on this list are particularly good. But deep down, you know, deep down, after having me say all of this, you've been sitting there and you've been thinking and you've realized to yourself whether your woman does or does not consider herself to be settling with you. If she does consider herself to be settling with you, then you need to do something very quickly, because that is a terrible state of affairs and it's only going to end badly. But anyway, with that, I'd like to say thank you for your time. Take care. See you later. Au revoir. Toodaloo. And I've got a book coming out at the end of the year called N-Word. It's an erotic thriller. And guess what? If your woman sees you as settling, if your woman sees herself as settling with you, that implies that she doesn't think you turn her on that much. If she doesn't think, oh, here's one as well, she never wants to have sex with you, that's bad. But anyway, if she doesn't believe that you turn her on that much, well, you can read my book N-Word to get tips on how to do so, because it is, as I've said, an erotic thriller, and it's really hot. It's really hot. And I've had women read this book and say to me that they had to touch and play with themselves after doing so. If you want to know how to communicate with a woman in a way that will compel them to act like so, read my book when it comes out. But beyond that, take it easy and bye.